Hello all dear students, welcome to online learning session. Today we are going to understand standard 8, chapter number 8 of science, that is cell structure and functions. Now in this chapter we are going to cover these topics, that is discovery of the cell, organisms, show variety in the cell number, shape and size, cell structure and function, parts of the cell, comparison of plant and animal cells. So in this chapter we are going to cover these topics. Now dear students, you have already learned that the things which are around us are either living or non-living, isn't it? So you may also recall the organisms carry out certain basic functions which you had already understood in class 7 and 6. Now different sets of organs performs the various functions you have listed. You know the different organs in the present in the body performs a different function, that is a heart, kidney, liver, small intestine, large intestine, different organs perform different functions. So in this chapter you shall learn about the basic structural unit of an organ, in which the cells. Now cells may be compared to bricks, and bricks are assembled to make a building. Similarly, cells are assembled to make a body of every organism. Now we know that brick is very important for the construction of a building, isn't it? In the same way, cell is a very important part, or we can say unit, which for the making of body of living organism. So in this chapter we are going to understand about the cell structure and its different functions. So let's get started with this chapter. So let's begin with the very first interesting topic, 8.1, that is discovery of the cell. Now in this topic we are going to understand how the cell discovered, who observed this. Now Robert Hooke in 1665 observed the slices of the cork under a simple magnifying device. Now cork is a part of the bark of a tree. Now he took a thin slice of the cork and observed them under a microscope. He noticed the partitions, boxes or compartments in the cork slice. Now these boxes appeared like a honeycomb. Now these boxes which he observed under the slice appear like a honeycomb. Now we also noticed that one box was separated from the other by a wall or a partition. Different layers of partitions are there, you can see in the book also. Now Hooke coined the term cell for each box. So each box are having a compartment, the compartments are having a single unit, that is each box he identified, and he named each box as a cell. What Hooke observed as a boxes or cells in the cork were actually a dead cell. The cells or the box which he observed under a magnifying glass actually a dead cells. So cells of living organisms could be observed only after the discovery of the improved microscope, isn't it? Electric microscopes are more needed or more gives efficient result. Very little was known about the cell for the next 150 years after Robert Hooke's observations. Today we know a lot about cell structure and its functions because of the improved microscopes having high magnifications. So this is about the discovery of the cell, which is observed first by the very great scientist Robert Hooke in 1665. He observed a cork, which is a part of a bark of a tree, where there's different slices are there, in which a compartments, a single boxes are there, and in a group it appears like a honeycomb, and each box are named as a cell. He observed this under a magnifying glass were actually a dead cells. After understanding the discovery of the cell, now let us understand what is the cell. Now in this 8.2 we are going to understand about the cell. Now both bricks in a building and a cell in a living organism are the basic structural unit. We know that brick is very important for any foundation like building, school, offices, etc. Isn't it? Brick is very important because it is a basic unit. In the same way, cell is the basic structural unit. You can see in the figure also. Now the buildings, though built of a similar bricks, have different designs, shapes and size. Similarly, in the living world, organisms differ from one another, but all are made up of cells. We know that the organisms vary from one another, different from one another, but that organism, all the organism we can say are made up of cell. Now cells in the living organisms are complex living structure units and unlike non-living bricks. So we can say cells are very complex living structures unlike non-living bricks. You can see in the picture also the egg of a hen represents a single unit. Here Paheli is asking a question. A hen's egg can be seen easily, isn't it? With the help of our eyes, we can easily see the egg of a hen. Is it a cell or a group of cell? Paheli is asking a question. It is a single or a group of cell? But we can say the egg of an hen represent a single cell and is a big enough to be seen by unaided eye. But we can say it becomes, a hen's egg becomes multicellular after it hatches it to form a chick. When the chick comes, okay, a live comes out, then that is more than one cell. So we can say the egg of an hen represent a single cell. Now in this 8.3 we are going to understand organisms show variety in cell number, shape and size. Now let us understand about that. Now how do scientists observe and study the living cells? They use microscopes which magnify objects, isn't it? Now stains, that is dyes, are used to color parts of the cell to study the detailed structure about it. So there are millions of living organisms, they are of different shapes and size. Their organs also vary in shape, size and number of cells. Now let us study some of them. We know that all the organisms are different in shape, size and difference in cells, isn't it? So let's understand about that. The very first we are having a number of cells. Now we know that, can you guess the number of cells in a tall tree or in a huge animal like elephant? Now the number runs into the millions and trillions, isn't it? The numbers goes from millions to trillions. Now human body has a trillions of cells which vary in shapes and size. Different groups of cells perform a variety of function. Different groups performs a variety of functions. So we can say a billion is 1,000 million. So a trillion is 1,000 billion. Now organism made up of more than one cells are called multicellular. Okay, whose body is made up of more than one cell are known as multicellular organisms. And the number of cells being less in smaller organism does not in any way affect the functioning in the organism. You will surprised to know that the organism with billions of cells begin with the life as a single cell. We know that the billions of cells, we humans are having more than one cells in our body, but we that is a example of a multicellular. Now single cell which fertilized eggs. Now the fertilized egg cells multiplies and the number of cell increase as the development proceeds. So we can say that the more than one cells is known as a multicellular. Multi means many and cellular means cell, and over here unicellular means the organism whose body was made up of with only one cell. Uni means single and cellular means cell. So we can say that amoeba and paramecium both are made up of single cell. The single cell organisms that we say once, uni means one and cellular means cell, and multicellular organisms, there are we humans, plants, isn't it? There are multicellular. So these organisms are multicellular or unicellular. So we can say a single cell organism perform all the necessary function that multicellular performs. We had understand that amoeba is a single cell organism, isn't it? But also amoeba also performs the function like multicellular organism, that is the digestion, respiration, isn't it? There are also movements, isn't it? So in the same way the function of the unicellular and the multicellular are same. A single cell organism like amoeba captures and digests food, respires, excreta, grows, reproduces, maintenance of the body, isn't it? Now similar functions in the multicellular are carried out by groups of specialized cells that are different tissues. Now what is a tissues in turn forms a organ. So we can say the group of cells are known as a tissues, and these tissues makes an organ. Now let us understand about the shape of cells. Now you can see in the picture also how do you define the shape of amoeba in the figure. You may say that the shape appears irregular. We understand the amoeba is in irregular shape. The shape is not regular. In fact, amoeba has a definite shape unlike other organisms. It keeps on changing its shape. Now observe the projections of vari in protruding out its body. Now these are called pseudopodia. We understand about the pseudopodia, or we can say false feet, which amoeba uses for catching of food and for the movement. Now these projections appear and disappear when amoeba moves or feeds. So we can here Paheli is asking a question. What advantage does amoeba derive by changing its shape? The only two advantage we can say. It uses its pseudopodia or forceful for the movement and for the capturing of food. So we can say that is the shape of the cells are different. Now in the picture you can see that is a white blood cell, that is a WBC in a human blood cells is another example of single cell which can change its shape, but WBC is a cell. Amoeba is a full-fledged organism capable of independent existence. Now what shape you expect in the organism with millions of cells? क्या होता है millions of cells होता है तो you can see in the figure that is A, B and C, spherical red blood cells of human, spindle shaped muscle cells and longed branch nerve cells. So these are these three. Now we can say that the different shapes are related to their specific function. Generally cells are round, spherical or elongated. Some cells are long and pointed at both the ends, that is a spindled one, isn't it? We can say that sometimes they are quite long, some are branched like nerve or a neuron. Now the nerve cell receives and transfer messages, thereby helping to control the coordinate the working of the different parts of the body. So these are the cells, shape of the cells, and their functions are also different. Can you guess which part of the cells give its shape? Components of the cells are enclosed in a membrane. There is one layer, this is known as a membrane. Now these membrane provides a shape to the cells, and additional covering a membrane provides shape to the cells of plants and animal. Is cell wall in an additional covering over the cell membrane in plant cell. Now cell wall is generally present in plant cell and absent in animal cell. Later you will understand the comparison between plant cell and animal cell. Now these membrane gives a shape and rigidity to these cells, and bacterial cells also have a cell walls. Now let us understand about the size of cells. Now the size of cells in living organism may be small as a millionth and maybe a meter as micrometer or micron, or may have a large as a few centimeters. However, most of the cells are microscopic in size and are not visible with the unaided eye. They need to be enlarged or magnified by a microscope. The smallest cell is 0.1 to 0.5 micrometer is bacteria, and the largest cell measuring 170 mm to 130 mm is the egg of an ostrich. So you can see there is a difference in size. Now he is Paheli asking a question, are the cells in the elephant larger than the cells in a rat? We understand that elephant is in big in size and rat is in a small in size. Now what are that function, larger, and cells are larger or smaller? Let's see. The size of the cell has no relation with the size of the body of the animal or a plant. There is no relation between the size of animal, body, plant, isn't it? It is not necessary that the cells in the elephant be much bigger than those than the rat. ऐसा ज़रूरी नहीं है कि सेल एलिफेंट के सेल सबसे बड़े होते हैं रेट से. Now the size of the cell is related to its function, उसके वो function पे depend करता है. For example, nerve cells both in the elephant and rat are long and branched, and they perform the very same basic function for the transferring and receiving of the message. So we can say there is no relation in the size of cells. Now let us move towards the next topic, that is a cell structure and function. Now we have learnt that each living organism has many organs. You have studied in class 7 about the digestive organs, which together constituent of digestive system, isn't it? There is a digestive system is there, digestive canal, that alimentary canal that makes the system, isn't it? Now each organ in the system performs a different function such as digestion, assimilation and absorption. Similarly, different organs of a plant perform specific or specialized functions. For example, roots helps in the absorption of water and minerals. leaves, you know, that prepares the food, that is a photosynthesis process, are responsible, that is synthesis of foods. Now each organ is further made up of smaller parts known as tissues. A tissue is a group of similar cells performing a specific function. Pehli realize that an organ is made up of tissue which in turn are made up of cells. Now the cell in a living organism is the basic structural unit. From this we understand the cell is the basic structural unit, and the tissues, we say that the structure and functions are different. The specific or specialized cells together makes a different functions, different functions, like for digestion, for circulatory system, for the nerve cells. All these are different in size and shape, and they perform a different function. Now let us understand 8.5 parts of the cell. So these are the basic parts of a cell, that is a cell membrane, cytoplasm and nucleus. Now let us understand about it. The basic component of a cell are cell membrane, cytoplasm and nucleus. The cytoplasm and nucleus are enclosed within a cell membrane, are called plasma membrane. Now this is a cytoplasm which is enclosed within the cell membrane, which are known as a plasma membrane. Now the membrane separates cell from one another. What is the function of membrane? It separates the cell from one another and also the from the surroundings medium. The plasma membranes, that is this cell membrane is porous and allows the movement of a substance or materials both inward and outward. So promote करता है inward और outward material को movement करना. Now the boundary of an onion cell, you can say see in the picture. The boundary of an onion cell is the cell membrane covered by another thick covering called a cell wall. Now we had understand the cell wall which is present in plant cell and bacterial, isn't it? Now onion is a plant, so cell wall is there. Now the central dense round body in the center is called the nucleus. The jelly-like substance between the nucleus and the cell membrane is called cytoplasm. Now Bujo wants to know why plant cell need a cell walls. Animals के cell में क्यों cell wall नहीं होता? Why only plant cells need a cell wall? Now you have learned earlier that the cell membrane gives a shape to the cell. In each additional to the cell membrane there is an outer thick layer is called cells of plants, which is known as a cell wall. Now these additional layer surrounding the cell membrane required by plants for protection. Now the plant cells need protection against the variations in temperature, high wind speed, atmospheric moisture, temperature. Now they are exposed to these variations because they cannot move. So cells can be observed in the leaf peel or that of the Transcantia, Euludia or Roya. You can prepare this slide of onion and you can just see. Now this is about the plant cell, or we can understand about the cell membrane. Isn't it the boundary of an onion cell is the cell membrane which is covered with the another thick layer of the cell that is known as a cell wall, and the rounded dense body which is center in the location of that is known as the nucleus. Now these cell membrane separates the cell from one another, from the cell with the surrounding medium, and it also helps in the movement of substance or materials inwards and outwards. Now let us understand about the cytoplasm. Now before understanding about the cytoplasm, you can see in a picture a human chick cell. Nuclear membrane, cell membrane, cytoplasm and nucleus are present. Cell wall is absent in human cells, human chick cells. This is a chick and that's cells. Now this is a very simple activity. You can see that while taking a toothpick or a spoon and inwarded you just rub, the saliva comes in the spoon and you just observe that saliva with the help of a stain under a microscope. You will see this figure, the human chick cells, which is labeled as a nuclear membrane, cell membrane, cytoplasm and nucleus. Now cytoplasm, it is a jelly-like substance present between the cell membrane and the nucleus. Now various other components or organelles of the cells are present in the cytoplasm. These are mitochondria, Golgi bodies, ribosomes, etc., which you have learned in later classes. So we can say cytoplasm in which there are different organelles present in that. Now these various components or organelles which is present in the cytoplasm, and it is a jelly-like substance material in which these different organelles are present. That is we can say mitochondria, which is a powerhouse of a cell, ATP molecule, isn't it? You might be you might have heard about it, or you will also study in later classes that ATP molecule, adenosine triphosphate, that is a powerhouse of a cell, mitochondria, isn't it? Golgi body, ribosome, lysosome, cell wall, chloroplast, these all are the different organelles present in the cell cytoplasm. Now let us understand about the nucleus, another basic component. It is an important component of the living cell. It is generally spherical and located in the center of the cell. It can be stained and seen easily with the help of a microscope. Nucleus is separated from the cytoplasm by a membrane called nuclear membrane. So we can say that nucleus is separated by a membrane known as nuclear membrane. Now after this membrane is also porous and allows the movement of materials between the cytoplasm inside of the nucleus. With a microscope of higher magnification, we can see the smaller spherical bodies in the nucleus, which is known as nucleus. Very minute organelles, minute bodies, spherical bodies are found inside the nucleus, that is known as a nucleus. Now in addition, nucleus contains thread-like structures called chromosomes. Now this is a very important part, isn't it? Now inside the nucleus, which is also contain a thread-like structure, is known as chromosome. Now what is this chromosome? Now you please understand this. These carry genes and help in the inheritance or transferring of the from the characters from the parents to their offspring. Now these chromosomes can be seen only when the cell divides. Okay. Now these thread-like structures are known as a chromosome, and this is only seen when the cell division process takes place. The thread-like structures, that is chromosomes, are appear. Now these is known as a genes. Nucleus, in addition to its role in inheritance, acts as a control center of the activities of the cell. We know nucleus plays an additional role. It controls all the cellular activities. Now the entire content of a living cell is known as a protoplasm. Now it includes the cytoplasm and the nucleus. Protoplasm is called the living substance of the cell. Now we understand about the chromosomes, isn't it? It is appear when the cell divides, cell division process takes place. At this time, thread-like structures appear, that is known as the genes, which carries chromosomes carries a genes. Now what is this gene? Gene is a unit of inheritance in living organisms. It controls the transfer of a hereditary characteristics from the parents to the offspring. This means that your parents pass some of their characteristics on to you. If your father has brown eyes, you may also have brown eyes. If your mother have curly hair, you might also end up having curly hair. However, the different combinations of genes from the parents results in the different characteristics. So different features, characteristics which is passed from your parents to you, that unit is known as a gene, and which is also structures which carries this thread-like structure, which chromosomes carries this gene unit. Now Paheli wants to know if the structure of the nucleus is the same in the cell of plants, animals and the bacteria. Paheli wants to know any structure in the cells and plants and animals are same. Now the nucleus of the bacterial cell is not well organized like the cell of the multicellular organism. They are not well organized. So there is no nuclear membrane. The cell having a nuclear material without a nuclear membrane are termed as prokaryotic cells. Now the organism with these kinds of cells are called prokaryotes. The pro means primitive and karyon means nucleus. And examples are the bacteria and the blue-green algae. Now you understand about the bacteria and the blue-green algae. Now the cells like onion cells and chick cells having well organized, you have seen in the figure, isn't it? The onion cell and the human chick cell have the cells which are well organized. It is arranged in a very systematic way and appear same, isn't it? With a nuclear, so onion cells having well organized nuclei with a nuclear membrane and designated as a eukaryotic cells. So we can say all organisms other than bacteria and blue-green algae, apart from other bacteria and blue-green algae, all that are known as eukaryotes. Eu means true and karyon means nucleus. So while observing the onion cells under a microscope, did you notice any blank looking structure in the cytoplasm? You can see that it is known as a vacuole. Now it could be a single or a big, as in onion. Now chick cell have smaller vacuoles. Large vacuoles are common in plant cell. So we can say the vacuoles are single and large appear in plant cells, and in animals they are very small. Now vacuoles are common in plants, and vacuoles in animal cells are much smaller as compared to plant cells. Now you might have noticed the several small colored bodies in the cytoplasm of the cells of Transcentia leaf. They are scattered in the cytoplasm of the cells. Now these are called plastids. Now what is this plastids? Now they are of different colors. Some of them contains green pigment called chlorophyll. So plasmids are different in color, and some of them are non-green color, that are known as a chlorophyll. Now green color plastids are called chloroplast, which is generally present in plant cell. Now they provide a green color to the leaves. Chloroplast or chlorophyll, we understand, provides a green color to the plants. You have recalled chlorophyll in the chloroplast of the leaves is essential for the photosynthesis process. Now these green pigments captures the energy from the sun, that is chemical reactions takes place and the photosynthesis process performs. Now this is about the vacuole plastids. So in this we had understand the parts of the cell membrane, cytoplasm, nucleus, which is also cell membrane additional layer, that is a cell wall which is generally present in the plant cell, cytoplasm which is a jelly like substance or a material which is surrounded with the different which is present different organelles present in the cytoplasm, isn't it? We can say mitochondria, ribosome, Golgi body, lysosome, chloroplast, or Golgi body, all these are found in this cytoplasm, even vacuoles, isn't it? So whether it is a plant cell or animal cell, cytoplasm is there, what is gel like structure. And next, nucleus, which is a cell which controls, or which in addition that controls the activities of the cell. And we had also understand about the eukaryotic and prokaryotic cells. We had also understand the nucleus in which is chromosomes are present. When there is a cell divides, a white thread like structures appear, that is known as the chromosome, and chromosomes carries a unit known as a gene, which inheritance, or which we can say transfer of characters from parents to their offspring. Example, brown eyes, curly hair, we can say their appearance, posture, even this carry from that parents to their offspring. We had also understand about the vacuole which is present in the plant cell, which is in large in size, in animal cells, in humans that is are smaller in size. We also understand about the plastids, which are the different colors, and due to that color, different green colors, that is a chloroplast or chlorophyll, green pigments are there. Now let us understand about the 8.6 comparison of plant and animal cell. Now let's compare the animal cells and plant cells. Now if you recall that activity 8.3 and 8.4 should be able to compare plant and animal cells, isn't it? Observe the plant cells and animal cell, which we can say that observe in a figure from the book, that onion cell and the chick cell. Now over here 8.7 you can see figure on the board. Now this figure shows us the comparison of plant cell and animal cell. So let us understand about the different parts: cell wall, cell membrane, chloroplast, vacuole, nucleus, cytoplasm. These are the different parts or components which is present in the cell, plant cell and animal cell. So you can see that cell membrane which is present in both, vacuole present in both, nucleus present in both, cytoplasm present in both, and cell membrane which is by for additional in plant, that is a cell wall, and chloroplast only present in animal cell because the green pigment plastids are there and absent in animal cell. So this is about the comparison of plants and animal cell. From the table 8 in the table 8.1 comparison of plant and animal cell, you can just simply compare and fill the data where is present, or nucleus, nuclear membrane, cytoplasm we have present in both, plastids which is present only in plant cells, vacuole present in both. So this is about the comparison of plant cells and animal cells. Now after understanding this chapter, let us revise some of the points which we have learned from this chapter. Now all organisms are made up of smaller parts called organs. Organs are made up of still smaller parts, that is smallest living part of an organism is a cell. cells were first observed in Cork by Robert Hooke in 1665. Cell exhibits a variety of shapes and sizes. Number of cells also varies from organism to organism. Some cells are big enough to be seen with the unaided eyes, that is an examples of a hen's egg. Some organisms are single celled while others contain large of number cells. The single cell of unicellular organism performs all the basic functions performed by a variety of cells in multicellular organisms. The cell has the three main parts: the cell membrane, cytoplasm, which contains the smaller components called organelles, and the nucleus. Nucleus is separated from the cytoplasm by a nuclear membrane. Cells without a well organized nucleus, that is known as lacking nuclear membrane, are called prokaryotic cells. Plant cells differ from animal cells in having an additional outer around the layer of cell membrane termed as a cell wall. Colored bodies called plastids, which are found in the plant cell only. Green plastids containing chlorophyll are called chloroplast. Plant cell has a big central vacuole, unlike the number of small vacuoles in animal cells. So these are some of the important points which we had learned and we had revised. Now let me share one very interesting fact about this given in a book. The cells in the outermost layer of our skin are dead. We all know that the outer layer of our skin are dead. The cells which are present are there dead. An average adult carries around 2 kg of dead skin. Millions of tiny fragments of the skin are lost every day. Every time when you run your finger on a dusty table, you shed a lot of old skin. So this is a very interesting fact about the cells. I hope you understand this chapter very well. Thank you everyone.